Hazy, gray skies from fires burning near and far. A record-setting 30 consecutive Spare the Air days in 2020. And how could we forget this eerie day when smoke painted the sky orange? Concerns over our air quality have become the norm here in the Bay Area, but what's bad for all of us is even worse for some.
The pollution level in West Oakland for over 50 years has really devastated this community.
At 75 years old, Miss Margaret Gordon, a longtime West Oakland resident, would know. She's led the fight to clean the air in her neighborhood near the Port of Oakland with the West Oakland Environmental Indicators Project for decades, all starting with questions.
Why was this truck on my block? Why are we breathing this? Why is it not inside our home?
And concerns.
I have 2 grandchildren who are asthmatics. And right now it's under control. But I don't want to go back to that.
At nearby Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary in West Oakland, parents there are also concerned about their kids' health.
Yeah, a little bit of asthma, a little bit of coughing, shortness of breath when he's running around. Inhaler from time to time.
Kids younger than 5 in West Oakland are 1.5 times more likely to be sent to the ER with severe asthma than other parts of Alameda County, according to public health data. But why?
America is segregated, and so is pollution.
Dr. Robert Bullard, known as the father of environmental justice for his groundbreaking work, says it's an issue of environmental and structural racism.
You tell me your zip code, I can tell you how healthy you are. And you can have zip codes that are adjacent to each other and find a life expectancy of a differential of 10 to 15 years.
In West Oakland, life expectancy is 7.5 years lower than the Alameda County average, public health data show. All you have to do is take a trip on 2 East Bay freeways to see why. Let's start with 880. With big rig trucks carrying goods, the route takes the trucks through the flatlands where they exit near 7th Street in West Oakland, a neighborhood that's home to more Black and Latino residents with lower household incomes according to census numbers. Thousands of trucks each day stack up and stall as they make their way to and from the Port of Oakland, one of the 10 busiest container ports in the country. Diesel particulate matter, or DPM, from the heavy-duty truck traffic is associated with almost half of West Oakland's cancer risk, according to a 2019 Air District report. On 580, the opposite, only commuter traffic allowed. Trucks have been banned dating back to 1951, before 580 was even an interstate. Trucks heavier than 4.5 tons are prohibited on 580 by state law from Grand Ave in Oakland for nearly 9 miles to Foothill Boulevard in San Leandro. The highway snakes through the East Bay Hills, home to wealthier and more white residents with longer life expectancy.
The neighborhoods that surround 580 experience substantially less pollution from trucks. So that truck ban has led to a displacement of pollution into communities of color.
According to an analysis from our ABC7 data team of 2014 EPA numbers, residents living within 10 miles of Interstate 880 have on average twice the cancer risk and are almost twice as likely to develop respiratory illnesses than those living the same distance from 580 where trucks are banned. The West Oakland Health Council has been serving the community for more than 50 years. Dr. Adrian James has been caring for patients there for the last 26. He sees the impacts firsthand.
That is very, very hard to bear because there's so much we can do. The number of children going to the ER and being newly diagnosed with asthma has gone up. It has gone up. And the question becomes, why?
UC Berkeley researcher Josh Apte set out to answer that question.
That history of sort of regional segregation of housing is one of the big things that drives the disparities in air pollution that we see here in the Bay Area.
Especially true for historically redlined communities like West Oakland, where government maps made in the 30s determined where racial and ethnic groups could purchase homes based on who banks would loan to and who they didn't. Today,
on average, Black and Hispanic people experience air pollutant concentrations that can be up to 30% higher than the population-weighted average, while white people experience levels that are about 15% lower than average.
When you whip out your smartphone to check the AQI, you probably think you're getting a slice of the air quality exactly where you are. In reality, there are only 3 air quality monitors for all of Oakland, one in East Oakland, one centrally located near Laney College, and one in West Oakland. But that air monitor is 3.5 miles from where we're standing right now at the Port of Oakland and doesn't take into account that the air quality here at the port is much worse. And that's the air quality that many of our communities that live surrounding the port are dealing with. It's a snapshot difficult to capture by the Air District's scattered air monitors, 30 in total across our region. To better understand the differences in the quality of air we breathe, the Air District contracted San Francisco-based air pollution research company Alameda. The company collaborated with APTI and Google, mapping differences in air quality block by block.
From one block to the next, air pollutants can have concentrations that differ by a factor of 5 to 8. We actually outfit ultra low emission vehicles with air intakes on the side and multiple air pollution sensors that are housed in the back of the vehicle to gather hyper local measurements every second while we drive down the road.
This map is generated by tens of thousands of trips over the course of 3 years, showing the concentration of air pollutants like black carbon spewed from diesel burning heavy duty trucks crisscrossing West Oakland streets. That deep purple is closer to the port and 880.
And that means that the diesel emissions, which are a major contributor to the pollution burden in a place like West Oakland, are sequestered closer to the 880 corridor.
The hope is that these block by block air quality maps will help inform decisions that lead to solutions. It's a process now required by law thanks to AB 617. Signed by Governor Brown in 2017. It requires the California Air Resources Board to work with regional regulators like the Air District and local groups like the West Oakland Environmental Indicators and Miss Margaret to implement fixes. The ideas coming directly from the people.
The game changer is that you have data based from the streets, not from the air. Then you get to challenge land use. You get to challenge proximity. You get to challenge somebody. Your business got to upgrade. You got to redirect this truck traffic here. Those are the kind of things we never had before.
That's one of the key targets of West Oakland owning our air plan adopted through AB 617, paving the way for a 2030 where each West Oakland block will breathe equally clean air. That'll require the Port of Oakland to become cleaner and greener. How does the port get to zero emissions, and what might be the biggest challenges to accomplishing that?
We started in 2008 with our maritime air quality policy statement. Our board set a very ambitious target to reduce diesel particulate matter emissions by 85% from port sources. The biggest challenge is technology. A lot of the technology is still under development, and we want to make sure that the technology is ready for use when we put it on a terminal.
Some of the zero emissions technology is ready, and it's being tested incrementally before a complete overhaul. Like these massive yard cranes towering 90 feet into the sky, used to move heavy cargo containers. All 13 cranes at this terminal have been converted to hybrid electric engines. The old engines guzzled 13 gallons of diesel fuel an hour, cut to 3/4 of a gallon an hour with the new hybrid engines, according to the port. 10 fully electric work trucks to move containers are also being tried out to see if they're up to the test. Promising changes, that'll take time. When you hear about the health consequences that are very real for the people in West Oakland, decreased life expectancy, higher instances of children going to the ER with severe asthma cases, how do you reconcile that?
For someone who is suffering, it can never happen fast enough, and we take that very, very seriously.
As for changes that could happen immediately, Ms. Margaret is in favor of lifting the 580 truck ban, which would require a reversal of state law passed in 2000.
Yes, it should be lifted. So we can take some of this congestion off this end of the community. I don't want nobody else's mother, grandmother have to sit up all night with a kid coughing and crying all night long.
I would love to see that change. Can we at least decrease the volume of trucks that come through here?
Vice Mayor of Oakland, Rebecca Kaplan, elected to represent the entire city, thinks that ban should be revisited.
Would you be in favor of lifting that 580 truck ban?
So one of the ways to fix that is to shift to zero emission trucks, but the underlying inequity of where they're placed in the first place absolutely needs to be part of the conversation.
It's about 580 versus 880, but it's also about, where we place environmental burdens and whether we're going to move away from a model where more disadvantaged communities are forced to accept greater environmental risks in our country.
No one solution will bring us closer to a zero emissions future where the air in all of our communities is safe to breathe. But each one of us can help create that future block by block.
Join an organization and get your organization to understand. You don't have to, be the expert in air quality and air monitoring and chemical safety, et cetera. But if you breathe air and drink water and eat food and you're concerned about those three things, you're an environmentalist. You just may not know it. So I'd say wake up and let's get busy.